In today's lecture, let us see the application of the doctrine of mens rea in the IPC. Here we cover some of the mens rea terms which have been used in the code for defining various offences. Some of the mens rea terms we have discussed in the previous lecture, wherein we have covered intention, knowledge, negligence, etc. But in today's lecture, we'll be discussing few more terms which have been used under various provisions of the code and which have also been defined in the code for easy understanding. Along with this, we'll also cover the application of the doctrine of mens rea in the chapter 4 of the IPC, dealing with general exceptions. First, the answer to the previous problem to ponder. Yes, he could be charged for theft. Although the motive here was to satisfy his and his child's hunger, which is good enough, the intention happens to be bad. His intention of stealing the loaf of bread happens to be the required mental element, the required mens rea element as stipulated in section 378 theft. Of course, which we'll discuss in the coming lectures. But as of now, I would say that the intention is bad, and even if the motive was good enough, he would be charged for theft definitely. Okay, now let us start analyzing the mens rea terms which have been defined in the IPC under sections 24, 25, 26 and 39 IPC, covering the mens rea terms of dishonestly, fraudulently, reason to believe and voluntarily. Dishonestly as a mens rea element is mostly associated with offences against property like theft, extortion, criminal misappropriation of property, criminal breach of trust, etc. Now it is defined under section 24 of the IPC, which says whoever does anything with the intention of causing wrongful gain to one person or wrongful loss to another person. Now, what do you mean by intention of causing wrongful gain or intention of causing wrongful loss? Let us find it out. Wrongful gain and wrongful loss is stated in section 23 of the IPC. Wrongful gain is nothing but gain of property by unlawful means. Here the person gaining is not entitled to the property legally. Whereas wrongful loss is a loss of property by unlawful means. And here the person losing it is legally entitled. Let us look into an example. A steals B's umbrella. Here A is wrongfully gaining B's property, which is the umbrella. And B is losing wrongfully the umbrella. Got it? So the person who is wrongfully gaining is in fact making another person wrongfully lose the property. I hope the concept of wrongful gain and wrongful loss is clear to you. Going back to section 24, dishonestly. The section states that intention of causing wrongful gain or wrongful loss is dishonestly, which means intention coupled with wrongful gain or wrongful loss is dishonestly. So, in order to understand the concept of dishonestly better, you have to read in both section 23 and 24. Now let us consider two examples. A sees B's gold ring lying on a table in B's house. A quietly took it and got away. You have to check whether there is the mens rea element dishonestly here in this situation. See, in order to ascertain whether there is dishonestly there, you have to check whether the act was with the intention of causing wrongful gain to one person or wrongful loss to another person. Here the facts suggest that he had took it and got away, which means his intention was to wrongfully gain the gold ring, thereby depriving B of the ring. So the mens rea present here is dishonestly. Got it? Moving on to the second example. A sees B's gold ring lying on a table in B's house. A hid the ring temporarily for causing B a little anxiety as he is a careless man. Now let us analyze. Here the purpose was not to cause wrongful gain, isn't it? The purpose was to teach him a lesson because he is a careless man. A wanted B to be more careful next time, and in order to teach him a lesson, he had hid the ring temporarily. So the intention was not to cause wrongful gain. He is in fact ready to restore the property as is understood from the facts of the case. Got it? So the mens rea element here is not dishonestly. Moving on to fraudulently. Fraudulently is a mens rea term which is mostly found in offences like cheating, delivery and possession of counterfeit coins, making false documents, etc. It is defined under section 25 IPC, which says a person is said to do fraudulently if he does that thing with the intention to defraud but not otherwise. So, simplifying the definition of fraudulently, it would be nothing but the intention to defraud. But it does not state what defraud is. Defraud is popularly known as deception, deceiving someone. But is that the same legally? Is it the same as deception? Mere deception does not amount to intention to defraud. In Dr. Vimala versus Delhi administration, the Supreme Court has held that deception along with intention to cause injury or loss would amount to defraud. Now, I have to refer to section 44 of the IPC in order to understand what injury is. Any harm, whatever illegally caused to any person in body, mind, reputation or property is injury. Now, the court has also added that benefit or advantage to the deceiver suggests loss or detriment to the deceived. Now let us look into this example. A altered his father's will by adding few words to it. The mens rea element is obviously fraudulently because it is deception and it is with the intention to cause injury or loss, which means it is to intention to defraud, falling under the purview of the definition of fraudulently. Got it? Reason to believe is another mens rea element which is found in the IPC. You will find it in offences like giving false information, harboring offenders, counterfeiting coins, dealing with stolen property, etc. It is defined under section 26 of the IPC, which says a person is said to have reason to believe a thing if he has sufficient cause to believe that thing, but not otherwise. Example, A concealed B, who knew or had reason to believe to be an offender, in order to screen B from legal punishment. See here, A had concealed B knowing that B is an offender, and in order to protect him, he had concealed him. So he knew he had sufficient cause to believe as under section 26. Still he concealed him. So the mens rea involved here is reason to believe. Voluntarily is yet another mens rea element finding place in the IPC. You find it in offences like causing hurt, wrongful restraint, robbery, obstructing public servant in discharging duty, etc. Popularly, it is known to be an act done without compulsion or influence. But section 39 of the IPC defines what voluntarily is. It says, a person is said to cause an effect voluntarily when he causes it by means whereby he intended to cause it, or by means which at the time of employing those means he knew or had reason to believe to be likely to cause it. Thus, an act done voluntarily is an act done with intention, or an act done with knowledge, or an act done with reason to believe. Let's refer the illustration to section 39 of the IPC. A sets fire by night to an inhabited house in a large town for the purpose of facilitating robbery and thus causes the death of a person. The illustration says that he has caused the death voluntarily. See, his intention was to commit robbery. In order to facilitate robbery, he had set the house on fire. But it was at night and he knew that it was an inhabited house. Even if he had not intended to cause death, he knew that he was likely to cause death. So, he has caused the death voluntarily because, as was specified in section 39, he had done the act with knowledge or reason to believe. So, the act he had committed, which is death, had been caused voluntarily. By now, you might have realized that we have imported the doctrine of mens rea in our Indian Penal Code. In each of the offences that we have in our Indian Penal Code, we have got its prescribed actus reus and its mens rea. We have been discussing in the previous lectures what the terms denoting mens rea are, what the meaning of those terms are, etc. etc. This, in fact, affirms the application of the doctrine of the mens rea in IPC. Now let us look into the scope of mens rea in chapter 4 of the IPC, which deals with general exceptions. This is one chapter which exempts the doers from criminal liability because of the fact that the requisite mental element is absent. Let it be the case of an act committed by an infant, an act committed by an insane person, whatever it be. Such acts cease to be an offense just because of the fact that the mental element is absent. This again suggests that, or this again upholds the doctrine of mens rea in the IPC. So, this week's problem to ponder. A drives his car in a rash and reckless manner, resulting in an accident causing B's death. Can A plead innocence by stating that he never intended his death? Please share your answers in the comment box. We shall discuss the answer next week. And please do like the video, share, and also subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Bye.